Thank you. And Rich, thanks for that generous introduction, and let me also thank Barbara Easterling and Reuben Banks and all of you for inviting me to be with you today. During my 24 years in Congress, I have been extremely proud to stand with the ARA, to stand with the trade union movement in this country to protect and expand Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Older Americans Act. And it is important for all of us to understand the dynamic of what is going on in Washington today. There are folks out there like the Koch brothers and others who believe that where we should move toward is to end Social Security, to end Medicare, to end Medicaid, and to end virtually every major piece of legislation passed in this country since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And we are not going to allow them to do that. We remember, and we have read about, a period before Medicare. And think about and remember what went on before Medicare. And that was when you got old and when you got sick and when you had no money. Think about how many people suffered and how many people died. And finally, in the 60s, the American people stood up and said, that is not how we are going to treat the elderly and the sick. We're going to guarantee health care to all people through Medicare. But sadly, as all of you know, there is now a massive and well-funded effort to try to destroy the basic tenets of Medicare and to privatize Medicare. And there are some who say that when you are old, when you are 85 and you're diagnosed with cancer, well, we're going to give you a voucher. We are going to give you a check for $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, and my goodness, dealing with cancer at the age of 85, you're just going to go out there to the private insurance world and you're going to get a great health insurance plan. Does anybody in their right mind think that that will happen? What will happen is people may be able to get a few days in a hospital and then they're on their own, which is essentially what the right wing wants. That's what they believe. They believe you are on your own. They believe you're not part of America. They believe you are not entitled to any rights, including the right to health care. We respectfully disagree. And what we believe in is that Medicare should not only be available to seniors, that we should have a Medicare for all single-payer program. And think of what that will mean not only to seniors, but to all Americans. When we join every other major country on earth and say that health care is a right for all people and not just a privilege. But the Koch brothers and their well-funded politicians are not content with trying to destroy Medicare. It's not enough for them. They want to destroy Social Security and they want to destroy Medicaid. And as Rich mentioned, for many, many, many years, as you all know, there has been an effort in one way or another to cut Social Security benefits or to privatize Social Security so that the folks on Wall Street can make huge commissions. That's right. But because of the ARA, because of other senior groups, because millions of seniors and others have come together and say, sorry, Social Security is perhaps the most important federal program there is. You are not going to cut Social Security. You're going to expand Social Security. And we have introduced legislation that does just that. And what it says is what you have been saying for years, and that the American people are now saying, we're going to scrap the cap. And we're going to say to those very, very wealthy people, you are going to have to start paying your fair share into Social Security. And when we do that, by the way, not only do we extend the life of Social Security for decades, but we expand benefits as well. Look, here's the truth. Rich mentioned this. Here's the truth. And it is really hard to understand that many people don't know it. You know it. And that is that we have seniors all over this country, in my state of Vermont for sure, but all over America. These are folks who are trying to survive on $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 a year. Now, frankly, I don't know how you survive on $12,000 or $13,000 a year. How do you heat your home in the winter in a state like mine where it gets cold? How do you buy the food that you need? How do you buy the medicine that you need on $12,000 or $13,000 a year? You know, the philosophers have told us that great nations are judged not by how many millionaires and billionaires and wealthy people they have. Great nations are judged by how they treat the most vulnerable and fragile people in their country. And those are the seniors, those seniors who are living in a trailer park in Vermont, trying to get by on $13,000 a year. Those are the children of this country, over half of whom are so low income that they get free or reduced lunch programs in public schools. So we as a nation do not treat the most vulnerable and the weakest among us with the respect that they are due. Meanwhile, my Republican colleagues want to give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. There is shame on them, that's right. So their job is, what they see their mission is to virtually end every government program that working people fought for decades that protects us, and at the same time give huge tax breaks to the wealthy and the large corporations. But let me tell you something. The momentum is with us and not with them. I think a few years ago, I want to give you some really interesting news. A few years ago, if people talked about expanding Social Security, people say, you're nuts. We got to cut Social Security. That's what everybody is talking about. That's what Bowles Simpson was about, and that's what every Republican is about, and that's what some Democrats are. We got to cut Social Security. But because of the work done by the ARA and other senior groups and the trade union movement and millions of other Americans, guess what? There was a poll 2 weeks ago in the Wall Street Journal. And the poll asked the people whether they would be supportive of lifting the cap and expanding benefits. And you know what the American people said? By a 61 to 20%, people said, expand Social Security benefits. So because of the work done by the ARA and other senior groups and millions of others, the word is getting out loudly and clearly that this country and this government belong to all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. And instead of having a Citizens United campaign finance system that allows billionaires to elect their candidates, people want a campaign finance system to elect folks who are going to represent the middle class and the working class of this country. So, brothers and sisters, let me just thank you for all of the work that you have done for so many years. Well, never ever forget that the views that we hold are the views of the overwhelming majority of the American people. And our struggle is not only to extend and expand Social Security, our job is not only to strengthen Medicare and provide Medicare for all. Our job is to create a nation where every man, woman, and child has a decent standard of living and can live with dignity, where we raise the minimum wage to a living wage, where we have pay equity for women workers. Now, we can do all of those things when we stand together. So let us stand together, let us go forward, let us transform America and our government so that we have a government that works for all people and not just for a handful of wealthy campaign contributors. Thank you all very much.